Howdy, and welcome to LeeReads, where I talk about the books I've been reading and enjoying lately. This is my January reading wrap-up. January was quite the month for a variety of reasons. My grandma's been in and out of the hospital, so visiting with her, worrying about that, plus just national events have been quite concerning as well, so it's been a little harder to focus on reading and sit down and record these videos. But I was able to read some things in January. Two of them were eARCs that I'd like to tell you about, and I've made progress on a sci-fi series I'm sure some of you will be excited about. I finished Howling Dark, Book 2 in the Sun Eater Chronicles, the Sun Eater series by Christopher Ruocchio. This is an epic science fiction space opera where the main character, Hadrian, is reflecting on his past. It's now been many, many years because of the science of space travel and going into cold storage on these interstellar trips. And this man is considered a villain by the entire universe because he contributed to the genocide, I guess, the wiping out of an entire race that were coming in and invading and destroying humanity. And now he's telling his side of the story. In book 1, we learn more about his foundation, where he came from. There are a lot of subtle references, or it pays homage to Dune, that's for sure. This vast empire of humanity is set up. There is an emperor at the head of it. Hadrian does come from a distantly royal lineage. There's some genetic manipulation that makes Palatine, which is what he is, just healthier, more robust, better at things than a common person. But in book 2, as his adventure is continuing and he's interfacing more and more with not only the species that has been coming in to attack them, but also with a fabled, long, historic part of humanity, I found that this book gets into discussion of what is humanity as far as genetic manipulation and the use of machines because of things that have gone on in the past. Using computers to help you think is something that's frowned upon, which is quite interesting with some of the situations the characters find themselves in this book. I personally found the middle part to drag a little bit, but there was really good character development, shocking decisions were made, and the end launches us into a different sphere where the setting isn't staying samey. It's changing from book to book. It can be a little jarring. There was a time hop between the end of book 1 and the beginning of this one where I had to kind of resettle myself into what has changed with the characters in that time. And I'm sure that's going to probably happen again at the beginning of book 3, but it really reinvested me in the story, and I'm excited to continue. I don't know how much of a hurry I'm going to be in to swallow these wholes because it is kind of dark in places, and, we have to maintain our own sanity and not linger sometimes in those dark spaces. But it's a very interesting conversation. The character Hadrian is quite nuanced. I got a little frustrated with him and how, he was so betrayed at being betrayed while he also betrayed somebody. But that was fine because it was justified, I guess. So he can frustrate me a little bit, but I'm still invested in seeing where this series goes. One of the eARCs I read is called To Ride a Rising Storm. It is the sequel to Shape a Dragon's Breath. The series is alternate history set in New England of Americas. Our main character is one of the indigenous people. They had their own relationships with dragons, and of course, as outside people are moving into this land, it's changing the face of their society. They are looked down upon. Their ways of life are considered primitive compared to those who are moving in. And in one place this really rears its head is with the relationship and the rearing of dragons. The indigenous dragon population in this area died out. There was a dying off. So now the right way to do it is with the new ways being brought in. And when our main character finds a dragon egg, it hatches, and she bonds with it, she's basically compelled to go to that dragon training school to learn how to shape its breath, which is how her people would say it, but how to harness its magic. The magic is really cool. It's like dragons making chemistry happen. It can be dangerous. There's a lot you need to know to do it right. On top of that, it is a school setting in that sense. So the main character is forming relationships with all sorts of different people. A huge thing that this series is touching on is class, sex, and race interactions, and how, everyone can bring something different to the table. But of course, in politics, that collides. So there's this political story that's launching as well. Book 2, it really didn't have Book 2 middle book syndrome. The characters continue to develop, and the main character is basically a breath of fresh air, because she's not trying to be anything other than what she is. She's not ashamed of who she is and where she comes from. She's learning more, bonding with her dragon. Politics is politicking, and it was a really good book, and this is another series I want to continue. My other eARC is the new Romantasy that just came out by Jessie Mihalik. I really loved her sci-fi romance series that starts with Hunt the Stars. That one just swept me away. So I've never read any of her fantasy. And in fact, at a library book sale, I picked up another science fiction of hers called Polaris Rising that I haven't started yet. But I was excited to have this opportunity to see what she does in fantasy. The Romantasy actually, it didn't feel very, very new from what we tend to see from this subgenre. She has recently broken with magic at a later age. She saved her village from this flood. She doesn't know what she's doing with it though. And the villagers send her into this deadly forest alongside their village because there's a monster lurking out there. And so she goes to face this monster and ends up finding more magic and being pulled into this very deeper kind of ancient struggle that's going on. I think I prefer her science fiction so far, and I definitely want to try the science fiction I have by her on my shelf. I don't know that I would continue in this series. Quick pause for a phone call. That is Silver and Blood by Jessie Mihalik. And the last book I wanted to discuss for the month is a Juliet Marillier backlist book that I, for some reason, hadn't read yet. That is a standalone. It is her take on a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but of course set in ancient Ireland, focusing on the seat of this chieftain whose family has been cursed for 100 years. Our main character is a scribe, and after the loss of her father, she went into a very dark place. Some extended family members came in to take care of her, but they were really just trying to get her under their control and manipulate her, and she's finally escaping that. She flees, and she winds up at this village at the base of this forlorn, haunted, spooky castle where this chieftain and his strange companions live. This chieftain is looking for a scribe. She really needs a place of safety, so she makes her way up to this castle to put herself forward for this job. Things are not right. There are these spirits in the woods, and the people that she's encountering do not seem quite right. The chieftain that these villagers do not admire at all has something going on where he doesn't want to trust her even though he needs her to do this task. He has a temper. There's just issues, but she needs a place of safety. So she proves herself as a scribe. She starts doing the work, which is to translate these documents in like the family library, because while the chieftain can read Irish, he can't read Latin. He's trying to solve the curse that's on his family. As she is transcribing these documents, she's becoming more and more invested of finding the truth, because none of the people that live there want to tell her exactly what it is. So she's trying to find the truth. She wants to help solve this problem. And in the meanwhile, not only are there these kind of spectral events that are quite creepy happening, but there are these magic mirrors that are giving her hints into the past, among other things. Like, it's not obvious that this is what the story is. You can definitely see the inspiration, and it's still telling its own story. The characters are still struggling with their own issues, but in that Juliet Marillier style that I just love. I really don't have that many misses with her writing, and I'm happy to have read that one as well. It was a combination of listening to the audiobook and reading the ebook, which was quite nice. Those are my January highlights. Making good progress with my eARCs, with my Christopher Ruocchio Sun Eater series, and of course, dabbling with an old favorite as well. So all in all, my reading was quite nice in counterpoint to just everything that's going on. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you are doing well and are able to find your pockets of sanity and peacefulness. And as always, don't forget to support your local library. Thanks.